Hey y'all, I am back with a fun video. This is 5 ways to use vellum. I'm going to share with you some fun techniques like DIY embellishments and backgrounds and things like that. So let's get started. The first one is journaling. Some of you may have seen this, but it's just kind of a fun way to change up your standard journaling, whether you do it in a typewriter or on the printer. This works both ways. You can stick your vellum right into your typewriter, or you can stick a piece about 8.5, like a letter size, 8.5 by 11 into your printer. And if you have a standard printer, it should print perfectly, and you can choose your font, which is great. So I'm going to show you here that I'm just printing right onto some floral vellum that I got at Hobby Lobby, and I just love the way that turned out. I just went ahead and typed up just something really quick just to kind of share with you the idea. And then also stay tuned. My very favorite techniques are at the end. Like the last 3, I think, are my favorite. And also, I'm going to share with you a quick process too at the end. So definitely hold tight until the end. But this is, like I said, quick and easy, super simple, but it kind of makes a little bit of a statement. And I love to use my tiny attacher to maybe staple that onto a piece of pattern paper and then stick it in your traveler's notebook. So this is layers. This is super simple as well, but it does make a difference. Oftentimes we have a kind of a loud pattern, and to soften up that pattern, you can use vellum, because obviously vellum is still transparent, but it kind of puts a cloudy effect over whatever pattern it is that you're using. So here I'm just going to share with you a couple quick tips. Like first, I'm just going to cut a standard size or like a standard layering size, I guess, to fit right underneath my photo. You can't really see it there because of the camera, but I like how it just kind of adds a little bit of some texture in between my photo and the pattern. And then another way to do that is to get a color, or another way, I guess, to use vellum is to cut like a strip and just use it as another layering piece in a different kind of way. And so I am going to cut this as straight as possible, and then I'm going to add that right onto my notebook, or right into my notebook, so that you can kind of get the idea. I'm not going to finish up this page right here because I have more techniques to show you, but I want to just kind of share that it just gives a little bit of something extra, and you can essentially add as many layers as you really want to, but I love that vellum just really softens up any sort of tone or pattern. So there's a quick technique for you guys, and then I am going to cut up my journaling, kind of share with you how I could add that over to the left side. Now typically I might add this over like a journaling card or something like that, and like I said, tiny attach it to that card, so it just kind of adds a little bit of something extra. This is backgrounds. This is one of my favorite techniques. The next 3 are my absolute favorite. I am going to simply take some Copic markers. Now these are alcohol based, so they're not going to smear, and they seep right into the paper, which is perfect. And I'm just going to kind of make a gradient effect, and I'm going to use a little bit of some scratch paper underneath it so that I don't get it on my workspace or on my desktop. And then I'm just going to grab a quick stamp, and I'm not paying too much attention to the words or anything like that. I'm just sharing the technique with you right now. And am I worrying about it getting it perfectly straight? No, I'm just going to stamp away, and then I'm going to use a couple of different varying fonts so that it gives it kind of a finished, like printed look, if that makes sense. And continue to stamp that. And I just used this love stamp stamp set from Ali Edwards. I believe it came in a kit a while back. So the next thing you can do is, so I use StazOn ink. I needed to mention that because the vellum is a little bit slick, so you want an ink that is going to be permanent. So I'm going to measure my holes real quick, and obviously you can add this into a standard traveler's notebook as well. And I'm going to punch my holes after I've measured them. And I'm going to find a good place to add this. And one great thing about ringed notebooks is you can always add and take away. So that's just a quick tip to show you. I'm going to make another background, and I'm going to share with you kind of how I would add that into my standard traveler's notebook. Now this one is probably my favorite background between the two, the one that I'm about to share with you. I'm going to take a Feed Your Craft stamp set. This is the Food Coma stamp set, and I'm going to grab the outlined food phrase that says Food Coma, and then go ahead and stamp that with my StazOn ink. Now you can see that some are bolder than others, or certain places are bolder than others, but I'm not really too worried about that. I think it turns out great regardless. And again, I've mentioned this before, but I'm really not a perfectionist when it comes to crafting. Um, I'm kind of I lean more on the lazy side of crafting, so I'd rather not redo stuff. So I love the way that came out, especially with that circular stamp. I think that added quite a bit. And then here's how you can add it right into your traveler's notebook. You can use vellum adhesive if you have it on hand. If you don't, you can use standard adhesive, and then just make sure that in those places, if you don't want that to show underneath, just cover it up with some embellishments or your layering. So here is the section of DIY embellishments. I'm going to grab my little Martha Stewart hydrangea punch and some pink or pastel vellum. And I'm going to grab my Copic marker just to get a different color. What I did was I colored pink right onto that same piece of vellum. And then you get two different tones of pink, which is super fun. Now you could do this on the regular white vellum and do a bunch of different colors if you have different Copic markers. But I just wanted a couple different tones of pink, so that's why I did that. And then I added an enamel dot to finish off the look. The next thing I am doing is I grabbed a piece of white vellum, just a scrap piece, and some pigment ink. Now you can use Versamark ink if you have that, but any pigment ink will work for this technique. And then I'm grabbing my gold embossing powder. I love this. It's Recollections for Michaels. It's my favorite gold that I've seen. And I'm just going to quickly heat set that. I used a stamp that just says Good Times from Studio Calico. And then I'm going to grab my 1.5-inch punch, and I'm going to try to link most of this stuff down below. And then there you go. There's another embellishment, and it's different. It's not on white cardstock or on pattern paper. You have kind of like that airy look because you use the vellum. And then using kind of that same marker technique, I just wanted actually I was going to punch from my mint colored, but I couldn't, my mint colored vellum, but I couldn't find it. So I used my alcohol ink, or not my alcohol inks, my Copic markers, just quickly make some clouds, and I added a quick tiny text phrase. Last but not least, this is my favorite. These are overlays. These are super simple and fun. What I did was I grabbed a 3x4 card and I simply added a piece of vellum right on top to kind of soften that up, and I stitched at the top and added a quick heart, puffy heart right on top. The next technique in this same category is another overlay, but what I did was I grabbed a piece of ephemera and then just traced it with my scissors. I did not use a pencil or pen because it's vellum and it will see through, or you'll be able to see it through. So I simply stitched that right in the middle, and now you have a fun kind of more dimensional embellishment rather than just your flat leaf. And then same thing with the cloud. I punched two clouds. I punched the leaf wasn't punched. It was just a piece of ephemera that I had in my stash, and I simply used scissors and vellum, and that's it. And then I stitched. For the cloud, I punched two pieces, one out of pattern paper and one out of vellum, and then I stamped right on top of that. And then I did use a little bit of adhesive, but you can't really see it because I stamped right on top, and it's really not very noticeable. Okay, so I'm gonna create a quick page just using some of these vellum pieces that I've been sharing with you, or that I've been creating, and I just love how simple this page turned out. This is so quick, y'all. I just added my overlay card on the left-hand side along with my overlay leaf, and then my DIY embellishment with the heat embossed gold piece kind of right on top of that leaf just to add a little something extra. And then I added the cloud right in between those photos. And then the last thing I'm going to do, because I just love the way it's looking and I don't want it to mess up, or I don't want to keep adding and mess up, is I'm just going to quickly stamp currently twice, and I just did that kind of first and second generation stamping. And that is it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys like these kind of videos, give me a thumbs up and let me know in the comments down below what else you'd want to see. I'd be happy to make more. And I will see you guys soon. Bye.